Uluru, it's the red rock that dominates the centre of Australia, and it dominates the lives of the Anangu people who've regarded it as sacred over the last 40,000 years. We're about to explore Uluru in this edition of Travel Oz. Hello, I'm Grainger. As we're about to find out, there's a lot going on around Uluru. Indigenous artists, snake handlers, dingoes. We'll also see performances by world-class entertainers at the Adelaide festivals. And we'll visit Queensland's Sunshine Coast, surfing dogs, coastal koalas, out-of-control kayaks. Our marathon road trip is taking us from one side of Australia to the other. From the opal miners and underground houses of Kubapiti, we're driving now to the true red centre of Australia, past magnificent formations like this, as we head for the ultimate iconic rock, Uluru. This leg is almost 500 kilometres long and will take us from dawn to dusk. Along the way, we find formations like the Breakaways. This series of low hills and outcrops have literally broken away from the Stuart Range and are all that remain of a vast inland sea that once flowed here. The formations take on a surreal look as their colour changes through the course of the day. Back on the road, there are numerous encounters to break up the long drive ahead of us. A freight train heading north from Adelaide to Darwin. And two wedge-tailed eagles feasting on the carcass of a kangaroo that's been hit by a car. Over the border from South Australia into the Northern Territory we head. A 4-hour drive now directly west, taking us to the iconic landmark we'd been looking forward so much to seeing. Uluru. It truly is an inspirational sight. It towers above you, 350 metres or 1,100 feet above the ground, and that's the part you can see. Down into the earth, it extends another 6 kilometres. Uluru is literally an island mountain, an isolated remnant left after the slow erosion of an original mountain range. Get up close to the rock and you'll find a lot of features, numerous rock caves, and waterholes. Australians treasure Uluru so much it's been World Heritage listed. But for the traditional landowners, the Anangu people, it has great cultural significance. One Indigenous artist who reveres Uluru is Jessica Westbrook Nakamara. While her original tribe is the Garrawa from northern Queensland, she's been drawn to Uluru.
Just as an Australian and as an Indigenous Australian, I think it's a great symbol for us and something that we identify with. It's a symbol of strength, I think, for the whole country, and it just signifies how unique we are to this area and to this country, I think. I've been painting now for 7 years. And particularly special because the kind of painting I do is not my tribal kind of painting, but something that I was kind of adopted into the Warlpiri tribe by a group of really wonderful ladies. So more special because they allow me to paint their stories, which are not my own personal stories. Most of what I paint is bush foods. I do some rivers and some creeks, but I think what I try to do with every painting is do something a little bit authentic, something that's different every time, using the same symbols and stuff that I have learnt so far, but also put a little bit of myself and my own personality in there.
Uluru is also a wildlife haven. In the shadow of the rock, thousands of zebra finches congregate. With their distinctive orange beaks and white cheek patches, These finches are drawn by the waterholes around the base of Uluru. Also found around Uluru are deadly snakes, tracking across the red sand in search of prey. One of the deadliest snakes is the death adder. Its venom attacks the nerves and, if not treated, victims can be paralysed. One of the rangers at Uluru who studied these snakes is Lindsay Horton.
Most actual bites from snakes are more a defensive thing. They know that we are not prey, they know that they can't eat us, and it takes a lot of energy to produce venom, so they don't want to waste it on us. And a lot of bites are what we call dry bites. We only really have about 1 to 3 deaths a year from snakes in Australia, despite the fact that we have so many of the world's most venomous snakes. Australia actually has the top 9 most venomous snakes in the world, and actually 19 of the top 25.
One of those deadly snakes is the king brown or mulga snake.
Now this girl here, she's actually about 22 to 25 on the venomous list, depending on whose list you read. But she's actually classed as number 2 most dangerous, meaning that she's very common throughout Australia. She is found in populated areas, and she's generally a fairly aggressive snake. She will stand up and defend herself, whereas most snakes will try and get away from you.
Undoubtedly the creature that is most associated with Uluru is the dingo. Ever since a dingo stole newborn baby Azaria Chamberlain from a tent here, dingoes have been treated with caution. But they can be tamed and trained. Lindsay Horton has done that with 2 dingoes.
Dingoes came into Australia between 3,000 and 6,000 years ago, and they're actually descended from the Asiatic wolf. They literally out-hunted a lot of their other competitors for food, like the Tasmanian devil and the thylacine, the Tasmanian tiger, which were prolific on the Australian mainland before these guys arrived. They are very, very shy, and therefore they are pretty well hidden away, and you have to be pretty lucky to see them. In 4 years that I've been out here, I've maybe seen a dozen or so actually in the wild. Occasionally you do get guests that will see them outside their hotel rooms late at night and looking around for anything that they can find to eat.
Later, Lindsay invites us to his Uluru home, a converted caravan. Lindsay, and of course, Uluru here just dominates. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, there's that big red rock. You just can't get away from it. It dominates your life.
It never fails to inspire me and fascinate me. And, well, you can't get lost because you've got the biggest landmarker in the area, haven't you? To me, it is probably one of the most fascinating things. And initially, when I came out here to visit a friend of mine, Michael here, and I just fell in love with the place and stayed. And every time you look at it, there's something different. It never seems to be the same sort of thing.
You've made desert living an art form, mate. Very homely, very homely. Lovely gardens and the piece de resistance.
You've got to have a bit of luxury even in the desert, mate. So this is my regeneration area. It's my therapy. I come home from work, potter around the garden, sit down and relax, jump in the spa, and take your mind out of the workplace. And this is our living area, our lounge room, kitchen, of course.
And who's this guy?
That's my best friend, my best mate, Tiku.
Ah, look at that. Tiku, the bearded dragon, is such an appropriate pet for an outback hideaway. Before we leave Uluru, 2 final and very special perspectives of the Red Rock. A flight by helicopter allows us to study the immensity of Uluru from the air. Any wonder this is one of Australia's most recognisable natural icons. Rising majestically out of the flat red plains, it's hard to imagine that some 500 million years ago it was all part of the ocean floor at the centre of Australia. Back on the ground, we watch as the rock changes colour before our eyes. Put in the time and you can watch as the changing light in the afternoon means Uluru goes from rich ochre to deep red right on sunset. Uluru, one of Australia's greatest national treasures.
Travel